Everyone, I just want to introduce myself. I'm FONDY Tam. I'm a mindset coach. I specialize in self-image transformation and wealth creation. My past, actually, well, I still work as a jeweler. I've been doing this for 20 years now, but I do that on a referral basis. So I do a lot of custom work, and I put that a little bit aside to focus on this. So I became a coach after my dad and sister passed away. I had some serious, I guess, issues with the grieving process, and I really needed to learn how to change my perspective, because I understood that, you know, some people grieve differently, and why don't we all grieve the same? So I had to find a way, like, how do I change the way I see things so that I can heal? So I studied a lot about mindset and the thought processes, and, you know, my perspective and why I was having a, you know, really hard time. This is a passion project for me. So this is for my sister. She passed away actually from breast cancer. And at the time, when I learned, understanding that emotions and diet interplay. So I bought her all kinds of things. I bought her like a Louise Hay book. Louise Hay is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Louise Hay. She talks about healing and how emotions and thoughts affect your body and gives you symptoms and illness. So I bought her that book to help her kind of go through the process. Like, I don't know exactly what was, you know, going through my sister's mind at all times, or I know she was stressed. I have 2 kids, and she was taking care of my parents a lot. So, and her diet wasn't great. She ate a lot of sugary foods and wasn't really big on like vegetables and fruit. So I got her a juicer. I spent like hundreds of dollars getting her a juicer. Like, I went crazy. I gave her everything that I knew in my own toolbox to help her in her healing process. But unfortunately, she went in the way of conventional medicine and she passed away. So in this work that I'm doing with Cindy, we want to actually help people understand that toxicity of thoughts and what goes on in our minds, and the toxicity of our environment that we absorb through, you know, food and skin and all, you know, all of those things that bombard us have a detrimental effect on us. So we want to teach you guys how to eat better, have better lifestyle habits, and where habits actually originate. So that's where I come in. I teach the mindset part. Okay, so I have some slides I want to share with you.
So as FONDY is looking through the slides, I just want to say thanks to everybody here, and also to FONDY. And I practice holistic nutrition. And as FONDY had stated, I do believe that mindset is so important for someone to not only develop better habits, but to actually follow through. Because if your mindset is limiting you in some way, then you're going to go back to your old habits and your previous comfort level. So I just want to jump in just to mention that this is a great holistic approach if you can work on mindset and nutrition at the same time. So go ahead, FONDY.
Okay, so before we begin, I want to, because you're all here to learn something, and then you're learning something to better something or to go towards somewhere. So I want you guys to, if you don't already have a goal or goals, to think of something you have been considering and write it down or hold it in your mind what this goal is, because we need to have a target. We need to have a place where we are going towards. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment to think of some of your goals, and it could be anything. It could be a dream vacation. It could be a new job. It could be making a certain amount of money in your business this year, weight loss, or finding relief for some kind of symptom you have physically. Anything that you want, that you think will give you a better living experience. So anything. Cindy?
Yes.
Did you have a goal that you wanted to share with us?
I was talking to FONDY the other day, and one of my goals is always to be a surfer on, like, in Hawaii or Costa Rica. I want to learn how to surf. I envision myself surfing in this beautiful, setting. Okay. And the thing is, if I were to accomplish that, many goals will have to be accomplished before I get there. So one of those goals would have been conquering my fear of like exposing myself, you know, in front of everybody on the beach. And then the other one would be having really strong abs to actually get up on that board and balance myself. And then maybe financially too, to afford a trip and to get there and to like learn how to surf. So there's multiple things that would have to happen before I get to that goal. But ultimately, that is one of my goals, is to surf in Hawaii, somewhere in the North Bay. And if I do that, I'll keep you posted. I'll definitely share a picture.
The North Bay is pretty ambitious. Those are like the biggest waves in the world.
Yeah,
actually.
Turtle Bay, you know, in that that area. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'd love to do it there.
So I'm going to share with you one of my goals. This is one of my smaller goals, and I'm going to talk about it a little more later. But you know, I'm middle-aged and my hormones have changed, and you know, I haven't been keeping up with my usual, I guess, workout routine or any kind of physical stuff. Actually, like most of my days are sedentary in front of my laptop. So my goal is to get fit and to be able to fit into my pants that I no longer fit into. Anyway, that's one of my goals, my little goals. Okay. So just hold your goal and we're going to move on from here. So where are you now? So when you have your goal, whatever it is, like Cindy has her surfing goal and I have my belly goal. So for me, I had to be realistic with myself in terms of acknowledging exactly where my physical state is right now. And what I did actually a couple of nights ago, I decided to really take a look at myself. I went in front of a full-length mirror and I rolled up my shirt to expose my belly. Okay. So, you know, when you go in your routine days, you don't actually know what you look like when you're face on with somebody. You know, I don't normally look in a full-length mirror. So I rolled up my shirt and I looked at my belly and I said, you know what? I was actually shocked because I hadn't looked at myself for a long time, like, you know, whatever. And I said, you know, I was okay with it. I accepted where I am. I said, you know, I'm ready to work on it. I'm ready to eat the way I'm supposed to eat and do the physical exercise or whatever it is I need to deal with it. And I'm also going to be, you know, working with Cindy as well in terms of like hormone health. She's doing a program on hormone health. So I'm going to be participating in that because I'm middle-aged, my hormones have switched up and it changed my physical shape. So I acknowledged exactly where I am. I have my goal. I know where I am. I totally accept it. And I am ready to say goodbye to the belly fat. So whatever it is, I'm ready to go. So in your situation, whatever goal it is you have, I want you to think of where it is you are now in relation to where it is you want to go. Okay, because there is a process and there is a mindset that will bring you there. So when you have a goal, you need to have a plan. Otherwise, your goal is just really a wish or a dream. If you don't have a pathway, you're not going to get there. So accept where you are and then have that place that you want to target. And then we're going to work on how you're going to move on to the next step. Okay, like I said, how did you get here? Well, how did you get here? So everything you are right now, like for instance, where I am in my physical state, I got here through a series of, you know, habits. I didn't do exercise regularly. I didn't always eat the best foods all the time. I was emotional eating. So, you know, I was eating sweets. I love cookies. So every night I would have a few cookies. I don't really need those things, but it was just my comfort thing. So I understand exactly, well, pretty much how I got here. And now it's going to give me the tools to search for and implement to where I want to go. So when I tell you how you got here is through a series of habits, right? So we're going to have to change those habits. And where did those habits come from? They came from certain belief systems, certain aspects of yourself. And it all comes from the mind. It all comes from what you think, okay? And so I want to explain to you exactly how your mind works and how we're going to change and work with the mind and control exactly how we're going to get to where we are through the changing of our habits. So here's a stick man. It was made by Dr. Thurman Good. It was like in the 1920s. And he wanted a way to explain to people the thought processes and how our conscious mind and our subconscious minds work and how they work together. Okay, so at the top of the page, you'll see there's our senses. Our senses are there, and our conscious mind, our waking mind, it's just for filtering. So, 24/7, when you're constantly in a space of filtering out what's dangerous and what's not dangerous. You're always in a survival mode. So your brain is actually programmed for that. So all your senses there are actually to pick up these signals from your environment. So your conscious mind, your thinking mind, is your logical mind. We do math, we discern people, we make judgments when we see somebody, whether or not they're safe to talk to or safe to approach. This is all that happens in your conscious mind. Okay, and it does the filtering for your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind, your place where you do all the feeling, and it's like a sponge. Whatever your conscious mind filters out, it absorbs whatever your conscious mind believes is important for you to keep. It's a survival thing. It's always for your best interest. Okay, so your subconscious mind is just taking it all in. For instance, if someone says something nice to you and it made you feel really good, that feeling will filter in, and it will be a memory, and you're going to associate whatever circumstances that happen in that moment, and it'll be part of you, it will be part of your personality. You'll filter that in. So when that happens, it causes certain things in your body. What you think and then causes a feeling on your subconscious mind. That feeling filters into actions in your body. So for instance, like I said, someone said something kind to you, and your brain absorbed that, and it logically interpreted as something good, and you absorb the circumstance, like you did something good for someone and someone said something kind to you. So now you associate you now being a good person. You're interpreted as a good person, a feel-good moment, and you're going to respond. Your body's going to respond by doing certain actions. And those certain actions are going to be interpreted by your people in your environment, and there's going to be a feedback loop. So there's this constant thing that keeps going and reaffirming to you what's happening and what's good or what's bad. And it goes from your logical mind discerning what it is, and then it decides what it's worth keeping, and then filters it into your subconscious mind. So we think that when we're in our conscious mind, we think that that's like the most controlled moment in our day. So when you wake up, you think this is the power point of your day is when you're awake. But the truth is that your subconscious mind is actually running all of the time, while you're awake, while you're asleep, and all your decisions actually come from your subconscious mind. So when you go to the store and you decide what you want to buy to have for dinner, you decide in that moment from your subconscious mind all the things that you think is good for you or is worth buying for you. Okay, so your subconscious mind tells you actually your actions. You don't realize this. You think it's actually your conscious mind, but all your decisions actually come from your subconscious mind. You're on autopilot. So another example is where you live and you're going home from like a supermarket, and someone calls you and you're on your speakerphone and you're so busy with your conversation, but by the time you get home, you don't even remember like the cars you passed. You don't remember seeing like the lady walking her dog because you're on autopilot, and that's your subconscious mind actually driving you home, not your conscious mind. Mind, body, behavior, and life. So your thoughts control all your body's functions, our emotions, which in turn affect our behavior and results. So when you're having a feeling, when you think of something that gives you a feeling, you actually automatically give a message from your mind to your body. So let's say you see something that's scary, like you're being chased down by some pit bull. You immediately discern that your logical mind sees something dangerous, and it's like warning bells go off, and then your cortisol, everything starts circulating in your body. You go into fight or flight and you run. So this is exactly what happens. Your mind creates a biochemical cascade in your body and then causes an action in you. And that's your behavior. So I want to bring you to the concept of self-image. This is like a really, really important thing for any goal that you want to achieve, because you have to understand that when the self-image is in place, it governs all of your decisions and actually is the basis of all your habits. So the self-image is what you see in the picture right here is the little kitty cat, and it sees itself as a big lion. That's a perception. It could see itself as a mouse. It just depends, right? And this is how we work. We have an idea of ourselves, of how we fit into our society. So, being women, we've been raised to think of ourselves in a certain way and how we fit into societies. And we make our decisions actually based on these beliefs of, who we're supposed to be. And we see the world in that lens. Men have their own way of doing things and deciding on, their path in their lives through the way society envisions men, what they're supposed to do. It's just our conditioning. So our self-image is actually built up a lot of conditioning we have through media, through our families, our societies, our culture, religion, all these kind of things. Actually, we filter and we adopt certain things. And we take those and we see the world through those filters and make all our decisions actually through those filters. So when we discern and decide what it is we want, let's say the partner you have, like, who do you decide? How do you decide who's the kind of man you want to be with, what kind of partner you want to be with? That comes from your self-image. Who do you think you deserve to partner up with? That all comes from your self-image. And sometimes people always partner up with the same person, the same personality, same person, different face, because their self-image never changes. So their habits are actually comes from your self-image. So I want to tell you a little story about my self-image and how I changed my self-image in a day and what happened with a habit I had. So that's my picture of me when I was in kindergarten. And if you look really closely, you can see my teeth, they're kind of rotted. And that's because I used to drink from a baby bottle, 2 bottles actually a night of homogenized milk, because I just loved milk so much. I used to drink for 4 years. Okay, I was breastfed for 1 year. And so from the year 1 to 5, I drank every single night 2 bottles of milk, okay, every single night for 4 years. And until I started kindergarten, I didn't think anything of it. And so after the first day of kindergarten, I still remember to this day that I had a little discussion with myself. I said, I am a big girl now, and big girls don't drink from baby bottles. And I stopped drinking from a bottle cold turkey just from one day. And I had a self-image change. I changed from being a little kid to a big girl who goes to school, and people who go to school do not drink from baby bottles. And it was an instantaneous little discussion I had with myself. And I immediately changed from little girl who didn't go to school, who drinks from a bottle, to big girl who doesn't drink from a bottle. So I had an intention, and I made it a decision, a hardcore decision, and unwavering. I was totally committed to that decision. There was a high emotional impact because I walked into a classroom full of kids, and it wasn't me at home anymore with my mom playing around. I was in school, I was in lessons. So I felt like the transition of who I was like night and day. And I had to make that change. It was immediate. But there's that way of making a change and then starting a new habit, or there's repetition. So if you're familiar with affirmations, people who, have affirmations, I am this, I am that, I'm a rock star, I'm a super entrepreneur, I make millions of dollars, like these things, they can happen with affirmations. But the reason why it takes longer to do with affirmations, because there's a smaller emotional impact and there's resistance. So people have the resistance is sometimes fear. A lot of times it's actually fear of whatever, whatever it is, like people who are fearful of success, what comes with success, might lose some friends, People might come after you. You might not have authentic relationships because you're so successful. So you forego some of the good habits that will take you there because of certain fears. So that's one of the big resistance in making a big change like I did in that one day, going from little girl to big girl. So this is where, if you're taking on right now, let's say, new habits that Cindy is going to teach us on how to change certain lifestyle habits, you're going to have to take that stance like I did if you want it really quick. That no resistance, don't care about any judgment or future consequence. It's what it is that you want, and that's how fast it could be. Or you could take the route of affirmations, having incantations and yelling and talking to yourself and making your brain hear it over and over again. It's just like, for instance, if you don't believe you're beautiful and someone keeps telling you're beautiful and you hear it and you hear it and you keep hearing it, one day you're going to believe, yes, I am beautiful. So it's that kind of concept. It's the repetition that in the beginning, you don't believe it because that's not your self-image, right? Like there's one time I did tell a friend of mine, I said, you're so beautiful. And she laughed. She went, she laughed it off. She couldn't even say thank you and receive the compliment because it was so outside of what she believed that she is. She goes, I don't think I'm attractive at all. And she admitted it to me. So when I told her she's beautiful, she completely rejected my compliment because it was so outside of her self-image. And it's just a belief system. That's all it is. I want to tell you another story about a man very quickly. This is a story I heard about a gentleman in the United States. He was of average, or I don't know, I think he's still alive. He's an average intellect, okay? But he decided when he wanted to try and be a lawyer. So he took his LSATs. And so, he took his LSATs and the results came in. And to his surprise, his LSATs came with this high, incredible genius score. So he was ecstatic and he got to apply to Harvard. And he went through the course, he graduated, became a lawyer, and then later on established his very, very successful media company. And lo and behold, one day he gets a letter from the association that runs the LSATs, and he got his real results. Okay, so they wrote him a letter and said, we're very, very sorry, but we have discovered that your results, the original ones that you got, are not yours. These are your results. And they were pitiful. They were not his. The original ones belonged to somebody else. But because he had in that split second, when he got his results, he thought he was a superstar. He thought he was a genius. And that idea propelled him to just go for whatever he wanted and succeeded in mega, bright colors. So just to let you know, your self-image, whatever you believe you are, creates a cascade and a sequence of habits and decisions just from what you believe in yourself. Okay, so it's really, really important going forward for whatever it is you want to achieve. That self-image is something that you really need to take a look at. And I teach that. I have that course and I implement it actually into our program. So so on average, a regular person, let's say, not what I did when I was 5 years old, how long does it kind of normally take someone to develop a new habit where it becomes automatic, like when you drive home without, really taking attention? So it takes between 18 to 254 days to form a new habit. On average, it takes 66 for a behavior to become automatic. So 254 days is over 8 months for a new habit to stick. So we all wake up, we all go brush our teeth. It's just automatic. We get up, we do our routine, fix our bed, brush our teeth. How long does that take for us to actually develop another habit? Let's say, I don't know, take a vitamin every day, take a supplement every day. How long does it take for us to remember to have that routine, or to get up and do 5 minutes of meditation? How long does it take for us to actually incorporate that and have that just normal? It has to be something normal, something that's ingrained in you, embodied in you. So it could be, so I'm going to repeat, the two ways. One is emotional impact, which happened to me when I was 5. It was immediate and instantaneous. And there are going to be many times in your life where that's going to happen. It could be, and it doesn't have to be when you're young with very little resistance and fears of anything. Any big event in your life will cause that emotional impact, and it'll cause a change in you immediately. Or you can go the way of repetition, repetition, just repeating a mantra to yourself until you believe it, until it becomes your daily. So, in the beginning, it's going to be difficult because your normal habitual self is going to resist. You naturally want to resist change because change is actually registered in your brain as danger, believe it or not. So you always want to revert back to what you used to do. So don't beat up on yourself and go, oh my God, like I'm really failing and I suck at this like habit thing. Like I don't know. I can't do this. It's not true. It's actually just your brain resisting. You have certain things, like certain ideas running in the background, and just that your plain physical wiring actually wants to keep you in your status quo, keeps you where you are. But you have to push. In the beginning, if you know it's going to take you up to 8 months, you can just keep pushing every day and repeating something consciously, putting it on a list on a wall and looking at it going, okay, like today I got to go and do this. Like, you just have to keep committed and just keep plowing at it. So no matter what it is, you just have to keep pushing until you don't have to think about it anymore. Okay, so this is something I wanted to share, or we want to share with you, the power pose. It's a scientific way of actually interrupting a stressful situation and giving you confidence. And you can do this actually every day. There's no bad side effect other than the fact that it lowers your cortisol and raises your testosterone. So it gives you the feeling of, confidence. So if you ever want to try this, can you just all get up and try this right now and do the power stance? Be superwomen, girls. Let's go. That's for girls. Okay, so anytime you're gonna be in a situation where you're stressed out, you just got a phone call with someone, or you're about to do something that's new to you and you're kind of apprehensive, just get into this pose. It's normally done for 2 minutes. It's recommended to do this for 2 minutes, but we're gonna do this for 30 seconds, and you can stand there and you hold your head high and you're the boss right now. Like you're the real boss, and just hold this. Everyone does this, big successful people like Tony Robbins does this, all, lawyers, doctors who are just about to do surgery, a new big surgery, they go into this stance to get, to feel good and get their minds going really, really well. Okay. Good job, you guys. Thank you. Okay, so how does everyone feel? Does everyone feel better by doing that? Do you feel it? It's awesome. Yeah, you can do this every single day. You could do this before you leave the house, before you go to work or whatever it is you're going to face. You could just do this power stance for 2 minutes. Just stand there for 2 minutes. It's going to make you, it scientifically has a biochemistry change. It actually lowers your cortisol levels, raises your testosterone. So you got that Tarzan feeling going on, you're going to be able to conquer your day. So, okay. So I want to pass this off to Cindy. The goal of this, again, I want to reiterate, is to dampen the fire, but also to quit the fuel. Okay, so we got the fires going on, our toxins and stuff like this, our thoughts, all these things are bombarding us, and the skills we're giving you is actually to cut off or minimize the fuel that's feeding the fire, and also to help you to dampen the fire on the other end. Right, so I'm going to pass this off to Cindy. She's going to give us awesome nutritional tips and tricks.
Thanks,
Cindy.
Thank you.
I'm really looking
Thank you
forward to this.
Much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that stance. I envisioned myself standing tall with wind blowing through my hair. It's yeah, I got this. Okay, awesome. So yeah, while I talk about nutrition and healthy habits, feel free, everyone, to put your comments into the chat box if you have any questions. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope everybody could see it. So it's interesting, Fondy was talking about gasoline, and do you see my screen, everybody? Is this okay? I just opened it up. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so when we think about food, we also need to associate that to, you know, the good fuel for our body. Just like if you were to put fuel and gas in your car, you don't want to put anything that has sand in it, or, you know, some different gas that it needs, right? I have a friend actually in the States who purchased a really high-end vehicle, and she was just using ordinary gasoline. And over time, her engine light came on. She went to get it checked, and they asked her, you know, what was going on. And they said, you have to get the supreme fuel. You know, you have a high-end car. That's the kind of fuel it needs. So our bodies are the ultimate vehicle for our spirit, for our soul. And we need to feed it the food that it recognizes so that it can convert to fuel as efficiently as possible. And the food that it recognizes is just going back to natural whole foods from Mother Earth, vibrant colors, variety of plants, healthy animal produce, versus the things that you find on the shelves in packages that are man-made, filled with preservatives and additives and different colors. And they do that so that it could last longer on the shelf. They add these chemical flavors so that, you know, you get addicted to it, and that it stimulates like a dopamine hit. If you have a lot of sugar, for example, it is very addictive. It's as addictive as cocaine. When they put a person under the MRI, they can see the same parts of the brain light up when they either take cocaine or sugar, and it is that addictive. And so what happens over time is when you start to eat a lot of processed foods, you're adding more work for your body to process that fuel. So imagine food, fuel is like currency. So let's say somebody gives you a $50 bill. You immediately know what to do with it. You know what it's worth. You know what you can buy with it. It's pretty clear. But if someone hands you a jar of coins, and even if that jar has $50 of value of coins, and it's filled with, let's say, like paperclip, pebbles, maybe a couple of buttons. I'm saying this because I have something like this in my office where I just like put in all kinds of stuff I don't know what to do with. So I just like, okay, put it all in there. But yeah, some coins, some of them are US coins, some of them are from my travels, and they kind of all go into this space. But if you were to sort it out, you'd have to spend time like separating things, maybe put some stuff in the garbage, and it takes time. So when it comes to processed foods, your body is doing the same thing. It has to filter out some kind of the rancid oils. You know, your liver has to process those unhealthy oils. It has to then convert things into energy, but sometimes it needs to take like minerals from your body to metabolize those types of foods. It takes a lot more digestive enzymes to break down some of these foods. And so you're actually using up more energy, just like you would if you were to sort out this jar of currency. So it's almost like driving with one foot on the brakes. So you're not getting that far with the same amount of fuel. Over time, it could cause you to get tired. It could cause you to get stressed. And I'll also bring some of these symptoms so that you can, you know, start to think about whether you do have signs of toxic overload. And so if you look at this list, if you have a pen and paper, I'd love to invite you to just take note of these symptoms and put a number to each bullet. So let's say 0 if you don't experience this. So if you have no inflammation anywhere in your body, like no water retention, no puffiness under your eyes, that's a 0. But if you have it like maybe once a month, that could be 1. Put number 1 next to it. If you have it once a week, it would be 2, kind of like several times a month. And then if you have it several times a week, maybe even every day, that would be a number 3. So if you were to just go through each one, for example, swelling in the mouth could be if you tend to bite on your tongue or on your cheek. If you have bad breath or body odor, especially if you don't understand why you have this change in body odor. If there's any white coating on your tongue or yellow coating, you can even check in the mirror right now to look in the back of your tongue, especially a lot of times the bacteria is in the back. If you have joint pain, if you have fatigue or a hard time going to bed, waking up feeling exhausted. If you have like weight gain, even though you haven't changed how you eat or how you exercise. If you feel nauseous, digestive issues, if you have any brain fog or headaches, And also your skin. It's a really good indicator of whether there's toxicity in your body, because the skin is your detox organ as well. It's one of the biggest detox organ. So anytime when there's toxins in the blood and in the fat tissues, it will get excreted there and they could cause a reaction. So if you can have this rashy inflammation or itchy skin. So yeah, I'll give you just a couple of, maybe not a couple of minutes. We don't have a couple of minutes, but if you have time to go over this and tally up your score, I would say if you score under 3, then you're okay. You can, maybe drink more water, make sure you go to bed earlier. But if you score, I guess, between 3 and 7, you're looking at like really doing some detective work to eliminate certain foods that might not be good for you, like processed foods, sugar, alcohol, if you drink a lot of coffee, not enough water. And then if you score higher than 7, I think that you need to look even deeper at what oils you use, what kind of water. Is it just tap water? Do you use filtered water? How are you exercising? What are your emotions like? So those all add into the factors of toxic overload. So all of these symptoms, it's just your body's language of telling you that something is off balance. A catch-all jar. Yes, Amanda, it's true. I have one of those. So let me just talk about elimination pathways, because we live in a time that is not like any other time where our grandparents used to live. We have like I think like over 50,000 new chemicals, 2,000 every year that gets introduced. And so we need to support our elimination pathways. So what does that really mean? Basically, it's the pathways out of the body. So your colon, the kidneys when you pee, your lungs when you exhale, those are pathways where you can exhale, you can remove toxins and get them out of the body. And so I like to call it cleaning up the junk. So you clean up the junk, in terms of like the food you bring into the house, make sure the whole food, if it's animal protein, I would go for either organic, grass-fed, or free-run eggs, for example, just a little bit higher quality if you can. And then how do you support those elimination organs? So the first one would be your intestines, and there's an order to it. And this is what I talk about in my program, because it's important to go in a specific order. So like, you don't want to, say if you're constipated, you don't want to start a detox program and then you're super constipated, you won't be able to like eliminate it fast enough. So you first have to start with the colon. Make sure you have enough fiber, that you have bowel movements every day. Introduce more cultured food. Bone broth is really great for the lining of your gut. The L-glutamine, that's a certain protein, a certain amino acid that's really good for the skin and for the lining of your gut tissues, and healthy fats. And then for your liver, you also want to consider foods that generate more bile production. So bile is the substance, and it's like a fatty substance that carries the toxins out. And it's similar to, let's say, when you're washing dishes, you pour detergent, to then break up the fats on the dishes, and then you can like clean it up well. So bile does that for our body. It actually dissolves the fatty globules that, when you eat something fatty, and then your body can absorb it, but it carries it out, and it's supposed to be fluid. But if you're congested, like in your gallbladder, or you have like a lot of unhealthy fats that could also congest the liver, then your bile production could be slowed down. So introducing bitter greens, like arugula, rapini, like on a daily basis, drinking detox teas, those are a great way to increase bile production. And kidneys, your kidneys, a lot of the hormones are excreted out of the kidneys. And so it's important to stay hydrated, but also make sure you have electrolytes in the water so that your body is able to use up that water. And so minerals and electrolytes are very important. That's why a lot of people are starting to do infused water. They put lemon or mint or cucumber to add back some minerals into the water. And then the fourth organ for elimination is your lungs. And so deep breathing is a great technique. Inhaling, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale fully. It's a great way to lower cortisol, to lower inflammation. And then taking antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, And essential oils are a great way to like directly access your lungs. So if you have, I'm sure you've had experience with, for example, peppermint or clove essential oil, to like clear the air. And so those are great tips and great tools. Fondi raised her hand. Fondi, do you have a question?
Yes, actually, I want to know about electrolytes. So, in the stores, you get those emergency packages.
Yes.
Is it okay to use the whole thing, or do you need the whole thing? Because there's a lot of stuff in there.
So there are some that have oils. You have to read the ingredients. There's a very popular one, I think, from Jameson, Estro C or Emergency or something like that. And it does have soybean oil because it has vitamin D in it. And usually vitamin D is coupled with some kind of oil so your body can absorb it because it's a fat soluble vitamin. But I would recommend like other brands that don't have the oils in it. Like there's a brand called Sisu, SISU. They also have electrolytes that are like no sugar added. And so I recommend drinking some every day. Like if you can have one a day, that would be great because it'll feed you back with the minerals and boost your energy. So that's a good question. Another way to do it is to add like a pinch of sea salt into your water because sea salt has micro minerals, trace minerals. Or you could add like herbs. A lot of people would put like basil, mint leaves, and just kind of let it infuse. And the minerals from those leaves will then get into the water and help your body like absorb it.
Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, no problem. It's so funny because I'm actually drinking one of those electrolyte drinks right now. It's a good way, especially if you're not eating, but you want some energy to get that electrolyte drink. It's a really good way to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and also your skin is very important in the process of elimination. So highly recommend like lymphatic drainage or lymphatic massage, especially if you don't exercise enough. But exercising is the main way to activate your lymphatic system, to get all of that liquid. It's kind of like the garbage trucks, get them in motion, get them to clean up the garbage. And so movement is very important for that. Saunas, sweating, like going to a red light therapy, for example. I mentioned that the other day. Red light therapy can really penetrate deeper into the skin, like the frequencies, and it could get the deeper tissues to start to release some of the toxins and the lymphatic system to be activated also. And so massaging, self-massage, things like that, dry brushing, those are really good ways to activate your lymphatic system. So we talked a little bit about detoxing, removing the junk, but then the next path is focusing on nourishing and recharging. And especially in times of stress, as Fondi had mentioned, your body actually burns through more minerals and more, it actually requires more, right? It's like you're fighting something. So if you're fighting it, you need to reinforce your troops. You need to have help added. And so make sure you go to bed early to recharge and rest your adrenals. That's really important. Taking on some herbs in the class of adaptogens. I'll talk about that a bit later, but adaptogens are just basically herbs that have some medicinal properties that help your body deal with stress. It helps your body, your cells actually absorb more oxygen, retain more oxygen, and it helps to clear out oxidative stress. So, I mean, everybody's heard of ginseng probably, or echinacea. So those are in the groups of adaptogens, and it just kind of gives you that extra boost. Anti-inflammatory foods with like multivitamin, minerals, healthy fats, and a proper mindset. So why is proper mindset so important? It's also important to reduce the stress in your body so that your digestive system works well, because there's two modes that our bodies are always in. It's either fight or flight or rest and digest. So when you want to digest food, you need it to be in a restful state, and you want to kick up your parasympathetic nervous system, which is when you are relaxed. And that will allow all the bile, all the enzymes, all those juices, to flow and help you digest in the best way. And so during times of stress, I often would recommend going on liquid nutrition to make it easier for you to absorb the nutrients. Things like bone broth, green drinks, juices, raw juices, and smoothies. and even elixirs like these types of teas that you probably have heard of with lemon and cayenne and ginger to kind of boost the circulation and bring more energy, into your body to boost the metabolism. And this is all part of the program where I can walk you through the different recipes that you can use. But when we talk about like food in general, I just want to take like a short time to focus on 3 macronutrients. And usually when you think of nutrition, you think of calories, right? Most people, like that's like a general understanding. If you want to lose weight, if you want to bulk up, they all talk about these 3 macronutrients. There's the healthy fats, there's fats, there's protein, and there's carbs. And all of these 3 categories give you calories, meaning they give you energy. If you think of vitamins, for example, vitamins don't give you any calories. You can take supplements of vitamin C and you're not going to gain weight. Like there's no calories specifically. But macronutrients, that's where the calories lie. But when you choose that, make sure you choose it from a natural source. So healthy fats would come through nuts and seeds, eggs, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, and all of that, like butter, especially if it's grass-fed butter, that's like a really good quality, because in the butter, the cows that are grass-fed would have produced more omegas, omega-3 and vitamin D, because they're actually eating, the grass that had sun and energy and all that. So it's important to actually look at the quality of the fats that you consume. And then the carbs, those are also from fruits and vegetables and whole grains, beans, lentils. And what's great about complex carbs is that it's not just about the energy that it gives, but it also has fiber. It also has all the multiple, vitamins and minerals. And it also has enzymes. A lot of times fruits and vegetables have enzymes in there to help you digest the food. So that's a very important element. And also protein. So protein, we think about meat, but again, if you look at the quality of the meat, the eggs, the dairy produce, and also like soy and all of that. So make sure it's non-GMO, make sure that, you're getting it from a healthy source. And so I talked about macros, and then in the program, I go more deep into micronutrients because there's so much of it. There's over 25,000 phytonutrients, and there's still a lot of research being done. But basically, these are the pigments that you see in plants oftentimes. So you see like the bright red in the berries and the blues, the yellows, the oranges in all the fruits and vegetables. Those actually indicate different types of phytonutrients. And so I just listed a handful of them, but one of them comes from green tea, catechins, they're antioxidants. Quercetin, they come from apples. It's a great antihistamine for those people who are like often allergic or have allergic tendencies, on their skin and their sinus. So quercetin is one of the phytonutrients that I highly recommend. And flavonoids from cacao or dark chocolate, lycopene, that's from tomato, and it's often thought of as something helpful for men, for prostate, for their prostate health, to reduce inflammation in the prostate gland. Resveratrol, many people associated that with red wine. They think of, okay, have some red wine, it's good for your heart. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's because of the resveratrol, and that's found in purple grapes. Glucosinolates, that's in the class of cruciferous vegetables. And if you know me, you know that I always recommend having like 2 servings of cruciferous vegetables a day, like 2 cups of broccoli a day, especially for women, because it helps to detox excess estrogen. It supports your liver, because what happens with that compound is that it actually breaks down and supports the antioxidants that your liver needs. And so those are just like a little glimpse of all the benefits of plant-based foods. And the adaptogens I talked about, so there's ginseng, but this is actually a group of herbs and plants. And a lot of athletes use this, actually. A lot of Olympians, they tend to use things like cordyceps to boost their performance. Because if you think of having stress on your body, you can imagine that an athlete or somebody who's training for the Olympics would have probably the most type of stress on their body and on their mind. They have a lot of, physical stress, and their they need to restore their health very quickly. Like their regeneration of their tissue, their healing process has to be done very quickly. And so adaptogens are very often used, like reishi. They often use that to kind of get more oxygen, get more endurance. And so holy basil, that's also in its own class for energy. Elderberries, echinacea, lots of vitamins in there to help you, with flu, with the immune system. Astragalus is good for your lungs. And ashwagandha is kind of like the Indian version of ginseng, and it helps with like stress, helps you get to a calmer state. It helps with mood and sleep. And so when you think of your health journey, let's say you start off feeling really tired and not motivated, you have to kind of, like Fondy was saying, think about the end goal that you want and put a plan in place, like little achievements, tiny milestones. And in each little step, you can, see progress and you'll feel better. And that will keep you motivated. And the first step, I would say that's the most important step, is develop some self-awareness, like create a food journal, look at what you eat, look at how the symptoms are, all the symptoms I mentioned earlier. Have they improved? Are they trending badly? How do you feel after a certain meal? And then start to clean it up, look at areas where you can swap for something healthier, like a healthier alternative. Instead of that chocolate bar, maybe you can go for a piece of dark chocolate with slices of apples, or, you could start integrating a little bit of that, look at your pantry and swap out some of those products. And then reinforce the troops, as I had mentioned, with like adaptogens and all those fruits and vegetables that are good for your immune health. And then nourish, stay hydrated, stay energized, and keep your detox system functioning. So that is what I want to offer through the journey, and to be able to like hold your hand through it so that you do it in the correct order and you have like the best recipes, with adaptogens and all that, so that you can get the results that you want. And at the end of it, all we really want is to have good energy so we can live life at the fullest level, and that whatever actions we take come from inspired action. And because when it comes from inspired action, you just know it's the right thing. And that's what I wanted to pass on as a message, that health is a holistic approach. It's not just one element. It's not just nutrition or just mindset, but it is the whole package. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with FONDY to create a program that has all of these elements inside the package. So Fondy and I, we created a program, and this program is going to be starting in the second week of February. And I'd love for Fondy to show the website. Our program is called, yes. So our program is called,
oh yeah, you want to go?
Health and Prosperity. Health and Prosperity. Who doesn't want that? And that's really what we want for our clients. It is not just about their health, but their mindset also to achieve the goals that they want. Do you want me to share the screen, Fondy?
Yeah, I'm just trying. I don't know why something's going on here.
Oh, okay. I can share the screen and you can talk through it. Here, let me just share my screen. This is a beautiful website. It's called healthandprosperity88.com. 88 is actually a really lucky number in Chinese. It symbolizes wealth and prosperity. So Fondy, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so we're offering, actually, because this is our beta program, and we're offering it actually in two formats. So we're having an intensive version, which is a 3-month program. Cindy and I are actually going to have weekly calls. So there's 2 calls every week. They will be recorded. So if you aren't available during that time, you can come on at any time when you're free, and you can re-watch the videos whenever you're, available. There's a 6-month one. That one is bi-weekly. So you'll see Cindy every other week, and you'll see me every other week. So every week you will see one of us. So we're going to have one health element, and then we're going to have one mindset element.
Yeah.
So the course, actually, for what we did, we wanted to help you guys discover the issues or uncover for yourselves, give you the skills to recognize the things that are actually not working for you, things that are adding, some difficulties, wherever they may be in terms of health-wise, lifestyle, or things that are limiting your advancement career-wise. So I'm doing the mindset work, and we're going to be doing many things with boundaries. I'm going to do a huge section on self-image. As I mentioned to you before, the self-image part actually is the backbone of everything, because it is what's governing all your habits and how you make decisions. There's going to be a lot of things on stress relief. There's so much stuff. Cindy's got amazing tools on lifestyle, how to mitigate stress and inflammation. There's a ton of things in there. Back again to, the stories of Cindy and I. Why we started was because of our family members that didn't have the proper health and the tools to avoid, like my sister died of breast cancer, and we don't have a breast cancer gene in my family. She had cancer twice. She had one in the nasal pharynx. We have a gene for that, but she had that when she was 18. Then she had breast cancer, which we don't have a gene for. But either or and both, they all came about because of circumstances in her life. So lifestyle and stress. So what we're doing here is we want to come in and we want to help you trash out all the stuff that's not working for you and help you to reestablish some good habits and ways of moving forward and having a more prosperous life in business, in your physical and your mental well-being. So in doing this, we created this kind of wholesome program. We're going to have weekly live group trainings. We're going to have a Facebook group, and we're going to have workbooks and a lot of tools to offer you. So all of that, we're going to have, I don't know, did you have the bonuses, Cindy? Did you pass by the bonuses? You kind of scrolled through that really fast.
Oh, was this here, the bonus pass?
There's something else, I think, going up.
Right.
To tell everybody.
Yes, it's the money magnet.
Really, really quick.
Right.
Yeah, so for part of our bonus, Cindy and I are offering 3 each of private one-on-one calls, actually. So you get 3 one-on-one calls with Cindy to discuss any health challenges or questions on any of the food recommendations, anything you want. You have 3 of them, and you can schedule it whenever you want within 6 months with us. And you have 3 calls with me in terms of any kind of coaching that you want to do with the mindset, to do anything with habit change, anything to do with self-image. If you're having issues with how your awareness of your current place and how to get to the new place of your self-image, I can help you with that. And also, after the 12-week session, I'm offering the Money Magnet program. So that's part of a condensed version of what I have offering in my big program on my own. But I'm offering that to you guys for 3 weeks, and we're going to work on money relationships. So how you relate to money, any blockages that you have, and we're going to debunk those and then help you create more success in your business, in career, and just life in general. So we're doing this, and we have an incredible offer. Cindy, if you can just roll that up for me.
I also wanted to mention that I give insurance receipts. I'm part of the Naturopath Association. So the 3 consults that you have with me would be covered under naturopathic services.
Okay, so for 1 week, we're going to hold this price of $2,997. That's the full payment option, where you get a whole full pass. So that means you can either give it to someone else, you can bring someone in on the course with you, or you can repeat the course, or you can buddy up with someone right here today. If you can find a friend and you guys can split the course together. You can do this you can have the option of taking the 3-month or the 6-month. It's the same price, but you get 2 course tickets. So if you're someone, you have a friend or a colleague or anyone who needs a revamp or to improve their status in any way, this is an awesome way to do it. I would recommend you take the 2 tickets for yourself and repeat. Repeating is a great way to reinforce and to really learn and embody all the skills and the lessons that we have. That's up to you. I think Cindy has a link sent up somewhere in the chat box?
Oh, yes, I could send that. Sorry. Here it
It's
is,
okay.
everybody. I'm just going to send everyone the link. This is the website. And you could copy and paste that into your browser. And Fondy, is it okay if I share with them the handout? A little
Yeah,
gift?
go ahead. I have a little else. We're gonna play a game after, just a quick little game because I have a little prize. I'm gonna send a prize to you guys. Someone's gonna win a prize today. You guys who are paying attention, we're gonna have questions for you.
Great, great. Yeah, so I just sent a PDF. It's a little gift that we created for you. It has 3 helpful tips on shifting your mindset. So if you need help, these are just quick little tips. But in the program, we go through the more of the solid reprogramming and the work itself. But it's just something fun that we wanted to share with you. So I hope you enjoy that. And at the end of this PDF, you could actually log in and join our Facebook group. So this is how the PDF looks like. And it's just helpful tips. The Wonder Woman pose is in there. Splashing water, that is a great way to do a pattern interrupt and to shock the nervous system, the vagus nerve, and it helps to calm you down. And some meditating tips. So here there's a link to the Facebook group. So if you want to try any of this and then you post about it on their Facebook group, that would be really awesome. Just want to see if this has been helpful for you.